Okay, so Octave is an unusually large immersive projection facility. There's lots of these around the world, but not often of this size. Not often of this flexibility as well. We've got the capability to break this down and form different configurations of screens, which is something that's very useful for trying out different operational modes for industry applications. Also, we've got the surrounding speaker system is wave field synthesis, which it comes from our acoustics department downstairs, who are world renowned for their work in acoustics. And this allows us to render holophonically, such that you can have sound coming from free space. So it gives the impression of an entire soundscape, which you can then walk around and project sound into. And we can do this in lockstep with the graphics, such that you can have a complete environment of immersive sound and video.
The Octave system is an immersive visualisation centre created by the University of Salford. Octave is one of the world's most advanced multimodal display systems. Users enter the 8-sided projection space wearing special 3D glasses and become immersed in a virtual reality. The user will experience being inside the images being played out and also be able to move and manipulate the objects they see using a variety of interaction devices, including their own bodies. The system has a 132-channel wave field synthesis acoustic system spread over 270 speakers. The overall effect is a compellingly real sensation of experiencing all the sights and sounds of another place, whether it's a marketplace in Iraq or the surface of Mars. The Octave required a huge amount of hardware to keep it running. 16 workstations, each with a 2 kilowatt power supply unit, were running 24 hours a day to keep the system live. Each machine was using around 800 watts, but with additional air conditioning this rose to 1,800 watts per machine day and night. Over the course of the year, this amounted to a huge amount of carbon. The system was being run on what's called a Genlock cluster. The machine also required reams of complicated code to be written by hand, which then had to be communicated between the 16 workstations. If something went wrong, then the system would completely fail. There were a few hurdles to overcome when developing the new system. For example, the cables that were needed to run the system didn't exist in a form that was long enough for what was needed. So the computer was moved from a side room into the ceiling of the Octave. After 6 months of development, John had created one single system that would do the work of 16 workstations and run at less than 2 kilowatts. It can also be turned off when it's not in use. It will save a huge 70 tonnes of carbon every year. That's equivalent to 611,111 miles in an average car. Or around the world 26 times, 21 flights from Manchester to Sydney, or heating for 23 homes for a year. This means less time to write code. And the new system can be used with just a few clicks. Time and financial savings have matched the huge energy savings. License costs have drastically been reduced. One machine equals one license. We spent £3,300 on each of the original machines back in 2007. The new system cost £15,000, but it paid for itself within 7 months and will save us £25,000 every year. The upgrade has enabled a whole new tranche of research too. Octave can be used for working on shared CAD-like jet engines, or even exploration on Mars. We have a big project with the European Space Agency where we can recreate images taken from Mars and explore it using virtual reality alongside other scientists around Europe. You could be a surgeon and be looking right into the eyes of an anaesthetist in Mexico and speak to him.
I think I was always aware it was using a lot of energy, because when we spec'd it out, obviously we put in a lot of air conditioning, and I think it's difficult to avoid the realisation that you're using energy. And it's something that was in the back of my mind, was that we needed to address the difficulties around the power. But it didn't really come to light until I had to go through the finances with our finance department at their behest. And I just realised how much electricity we were using in slack time as well, not time when we were using the system, because we had to leave it on all of the time in order for it to be synced up and ready to go at a moment's notice. So it kind of really punched home how much power we were using and how much expense it was for the university. Yeah, sure. It was 3 racks of large workstation class computers, all with 2 kilowatt power supplies. We had 16 of them running at any one time. And that's a kind of a cluster arrangement, which is pretty standard across the industry. And the difficulty with the way that we were doing things was, with the shutter glasses that we've got, we need to be able to sync all of the screens up with one another. So it's an unusual feature that's specific to these immersive display environments where you're using these synced glasses. And that was relying on NVIDIA technology, which took a few minutes to get itself sorted out. So we had to leave the system on all of the time.
This project shows what can be achieved when facility managers, estate teams and finance departments work collaboratively and collectively. The technology we created with our partners has also been rolled out across the industry. This is a highly specialised, unique piece of equipment, and hopefully other institutions will be inspired by what we have done and identify the energy savings that we have